Hi everyone, my name is Aman Ali Sayed
I'm Celeste Fernandez.
I'm Pascal Joseph.
and we are Digital Business Management class of 2025. We're also one of the first few teams who put up their content on the DigiPod network, and we're here to give you some insights on how that exactly worked out. We had a podcast called University, which we developed with Hanadi in her class. Here's Celeste to tell you a little bit more.
Yep, so just to provide you a little bit of background at the time, Humber had just transitioned from a college to a polytechnic. And there was a lot of why surrounding this and a lot of questions. So we decided to make this our topic of podcast. But we realized that we needed to look ahead and look further and decide how we could expand our podcast to cover more topics than just the one. And that's how we decided to expand it to cover the education industries and what happens behind the scenes. And we also kept in mind our target audience and how we could continue the podcast even after this class.
In addition to that target audience, we had to find and secure guests that were relevant to that target audience. But Sindhu, how did we find our guests?
Our teammate Haris Khan at the time was in charge of reaching out to potential guests. We started by reaching out to Tyler, and then Tyler reached out to the president. And so we were able to meet the president, record the podcast with the president, and then bring out to the students as to why Humber decided to move from a college to a polytechnic. So I'd say if you're looking for a guest, look for someone who is relevant, someone who is available and ready to work with you, and is inviting so that you can film the podcast the way you want.
Absolutely, and it involves sending calendar invites, giving them flexible scheduling options, and so on and so forth. We really had to sell the idea of the president being on the podcast, and luckily it was internal, so that helped out quite a lot.
It is also extremely important to make sure that your entire team is on the same page because you are representing your college, you are also representing your team and your program, especially when it's with external people. So it's very, very important to make sure that everyone is professional in every aspect.
Absolutely, and that's where content planning and scripting comes in. This is where you determine a format, a structured interview versus a conversational interview, depending on the structure of your podcast. You create an episode outline with a strong introduction or 3 to 5 main discussion topics. It's important to understand that the script doesn't have to be rigid. It can also be flexible, right, Celeste?
100%. For our team, we found that having some key points that we must cover worked out more better than having a rigid script because we tend to kind of deviate and we kind of let the conversation flow like we are doing right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
And we, like right now, we have a script, but we're going loose around it. And that's what helps with bloopers. Bloopers
Yeah,
is also
of
part
course.
of it. Exactly. Right. Not to mention, we had a lot of them on this one. Right. So, scheduling and pre-production. Sindhu, how does that look like?
Once you have the guest on board and once you have the dates of when you're shooting your podcast, please talk to people from the Idea Lab. Talk to people who are inviting and are ready to help you with what you're going to do. Some of us have no idea of how to do a podcast. We ourselves had experience beforehand with the DBSA, but a lot of people didn't. So reach out to the Idea Lab, see what equipment you would like, see what equipment you want, and then make a full plan. Things that you need.
And a very good example is right now. We're not in the Idea Lab. Exactly. And that is because we poorly planned how to put it out. But we managed to work around it and have an alternative. This is where your creativity comes into place. Booking a recording space, scheduling about 30 to 60 minutes for setup before the guests arrive is imperative to the success of your podcast. Creating a day of checklist for equipment and materials is important as well. That brings us to step number 5, which is technical setup. The technical setup is so important in a podcast that we cannot stress enough. You have to have the understanding of what tools you're going to be editing with, what tools you're going to use, and how everything's going to work together in synchronous. Sindhu, why don't you expand a little bit on that?
So when it comes to the technical setup, it can go towards the hardware side and the software side as well. Talking about the software side, you can use Adobe Premiere, CapCut, any program that you're familiar with, that you're ready to use. And most of the programs you have access through Humber, so you can use them as well. Coming to the hardware side, you can borrow equipment from the Idea Lab. Like Aman said, we are not in the Idea Lab because of poor planning. So plan properly, plan on time. Look at things that you could have. You could use microphones like this or microphones like that. Depending on what microphone you use, you'll have to use a SD card. You'll have to use a secondary SD card for your camera as well. If you're using 2 cameras, make sure you have 2 cameras, at least 2 SD cards for each camera. when we were recording the podcast with the president, my teammates might recall how one camera stopped working. And things happen. Depending on your guest, the guest might react in different way. But things can happen. Always be prepared. Even when things happen, you can go through it. If a camera stops working, shoot it again. It's fine. No one's gonna say anything. So yeah, things like that. My takeaway is this: plan in advance, make a flow plan, know what you should use, know what equipment you use and how to use it, so that you at least have an idea beforehand, and then you're prepared to go to whatever that could happen.
Absolutely. And just going on that, the time when the camera failed, we were a little bit embarrassed, but we worked through it. Just keep going. Don't stop for anything. Moving on to the recording day.
Yeah, of course. On the recording day, it is super, super important to be adaptable. Anything and everything could go wrong, and that's what the mindset you should take with you, that everything's going to go wrong, nothing's going to go according to plan. So be prepared for everything. Having backups, make sure you set up your equipment, make sure everything is working at least a day before. When you're working sometimes with external equipment like Idea Lab, we know sometimes it might not always be possible, but make sure you have enough time allocated to find alternatives and find backups. Along with that, you also need to make sure that you review all of your footage before you're done filming for the day, and make sure that everything is okay, because we've had corrupt footage in the past, and after filming we only realize at the editing stage. So make sure that everything is okay before you're done for the day.
Yeah, before you pack up, just make sure that's all said and done, because otherwise you're gonna have to wear the same clothes and try and film it out again, or film the whole thing again, which is even worse, right? So think about that.
Things that we've done before and even done today. So take a laptop with you just in case. Get a memory card reader, plug it in, see if it's okay, see if it sounds good, see if it plays good. For anything, you could record the entire thing and see that it was out of focus. Things happen. So, like we said earlier, be prepared.
Don't be embarrassed, just move on, keep your head straight, right? And that brings us to post-production, basic editing processes and enhancing audio quality. A lot of the times with microphones such as these, you have garbage noises that we like to clean out in our audio processes. A lot of softwares have these already built into them, like Adobe Premiere, and you could use a lot of tools for this. There are lots of online tutorials, and Humber provides a lot of tools alongside our my apps that helps us clean these up. So keep in mind, we have tools, just know when and how to use them. Use this in your planning stage and research so that you understand what are the nitty-gritties of how to get these things done, right? And that brings us to the end of everything, where you've done the podcast, you've edited it, you're ready to distribute it, and what is remaining is the complete podcast. Now at this point, what do we do?
Review your footage. Make sure everyone's happy with everything that has come out. Be super, super proud of yourselves at this point if you reach the stage successfully, even if there are arguments sometimes that happen throughout the process, some team clashes. It's very, very important to resolve conflicts as soon as they arise. And it's also important throughout this whole process to make sure you're building that network. It is 100% important, and we've been talking about this throughout our whole college life, that networking is super important. Use this opportunity to its maximum. Make sure you build good connections and you make your guests feel like they have actively contributed really well to the success of the student.
Absolutely. And these connections are what's going to help you in your future. These could be projects that you could be talking to employers about. We've been talking about these in interviews, for example, right? So just stay on it and it's going to work out. All right. Did we miss anything?
I think we should be good. All the best for your podcast.
Good luck.
And you're going to do a great job.
You got it. All right. Peace out. Peace out.
Peace out. Yeah, we're out. We're graduating. Yeah, I wish you the best.
And if you guys want to interview us, just click.
We're free, yeah.
Somewhere here, or you'll get a link or email or something.
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
All right, that's us signing out. See ya.
Bye.
Finally, 6 hours. 6 hours.